Is it working? Okay, cool. Yeah. First of all, Salamat Siam, sorry. Is that how you speaking? Okay, awesome. So I am Ankur Raina from Cockroach Labs. We are going to talk about agents, but first I wanted to do a quick hands check because this is lunchtime and some of you may be feeling sleepy. How many of you are actually looking at AI agents today, or you're thinking of building AI agents in the next 6 to 12 months? Okay, awesome. Some hands are up. Are you looking at Chat GPT and stuff like that? Right? Yeah, a lot of people. Awesome. So we are going to talk about these things in the presentation very quickly. But before that, it's important to know where we fit in. So Southeast Asia is a growing market. And in Singapore, 3 in 4 workers are using AI tools regularly. And these are like actual statistics that people have researched. I have not made them up. Right? In the Southeast Asia, the digital economy has surpassed $300 billion. And out of that, 1/3 is contributed by just Indonesia, right? So that's amazing, that's big. And we are seeing the second order effects of that in our business here at Cockroach Labs in Indonesia, because the volume, the scale, the kind of digital economy is amazing. And a lot of organizations have now embraced multi-cloud because you cannot rely on one cloud provider's capacity anymore. We are already in a world where RAM is short, disks shortage is happening, right? GPU shortage is happening. And if you look at the news, all the cloud providers are fighting each other on GPUs, right? So multi-cloud is not just important from the perspective of, maybe we will go there someday, but what if they don't have a machine available to cloud, right? So failure is not an option. It costs money and it costs trust. When you are at a store, in a hospital, and your wallet, your digital wallet does not work, you immediately lose the trust of your card provider. You immediately lose the trust of the application that you are keeping, right? So you think about other applications and you think about moving to other places. That's the same thing for your customers. So the customer expectations are high, and regulatory bodies across Southeast Asia, they are not making it any simpler for the organizations, whether it is OJK here or MAS in Singapore or other regulatory bodies across Southeast Asia and APAC. Everybody is keeping financial institutions on their toes for being available all the time, because it is no longer just about a service being down. It is actually about having an impact on someone's life who is there in a hospital, who is there in an educational institution, who is there in a shop, whose system does not work, right? And this is an old adage that I had, learned 10, 15 years back, and this is true even today, and this is true even beyond disks. So the adage was that there are only 2 types of disks in the world: those which have failed and those which are about to fail, right? The same applies for your machines. When I talk to people, they say, oh, we never saw AWS going down, we never saw Google Cloud going down, we never saw our VMs going down. Yes, but they will go down, right? Because there are only 2 types of systems in the world: those which have failed and those which are about to fail, right? So you have to prepare for a situation when they really fail. And the failure points are not just limited to disk. The disk itself can fail, the machine can fail, operating system can have bugs, the power supply may be down, there may be other geopolitical situations which result in the failure of the machines. And we are actually seeing this happening across the world today. There were data centers involved in geopolitical situations just 2 months back when people had to migrate applications very quickly across. data centers, right? And so Cockroach DB, we power the operational data, not just for one category of applications, but for everyone, whether it is a GPU provider like CoreWeave or an AI company like OpenAI. Every time you log in into ChatGPT, you are actually hitting a service that is backed by Cockroach. There are 800, 900 million weekly active users of ChatGPT. Every time you log in, that service is backed by Cockroach. Right? So use cases like metadata layer, identity management, feature stores, all of those are Cockroach use cases. Now, when you think about building agentic applications, and we were just speaking to a few people here, people are looking at vector search, people are looking at embedding, people are doing searching on that stuff. You know that AI models can make up answers, right? So when you ask one AI model something and then you ask it again, there is a high chance that it may give you a different information for the same question because it is probabilistic in nature. So how do you make it more deterministic? That is where Cockroach comes in, right? So now you have your data, the operational data, the metadata, the features, the metadata that you have, and you combine that with the vector embeddings in the AI world without using a separate vector database. So you save a lot in terms of cost, in terms of operational effort, and Cockroach gives you the deterministic layer for your probabilistic applications because generative AI applications are very probabilistic in nature. And you have one system for your transactional data, your vector data, all sits in one place. You just get the embeddings there, and embeddings is just one feature that you need. You don't need a separate database for it. Cockroach, as the name suggests, we are able to. So Cockroach DB is basically a relational database that is horizontally scalable, that is cloud native. What that means is you can run Cockroach DB anywhere, you can scale with Cockroach DB, you can have the benefit of horizontal scaling. If anything fails, Cockroach automatically handles that, right? So like cockroaches, we expect that we will not fail and we will survive any difficult condition in your infrastructure. So what does Cockroach look like? It looks like Postgres to your application. So if you have a Postgres application, you can move that quickly to Cockroach without any changes. And it scales horizontally. In the backend, we automatically distribute the data across multiple nodes. You don't have to do anything on the application end for that. And when the and any node within your system can read the data, can write the data, all the nodes are active at the same time. This means that the failures are handled automatically as well. So any node in your system fails, that doesn't have an impact on the application. You are also able to do rolling upgrades without any downtime, right? So you move from one version to another version of your database, you don't take any downtime. That's very important in today's world. No longer a time where you take long maintenance windows for database upgrades, right? You're able to make changes in your schema without any downtime, which means that when you're building these new applications, you have to roll out new columns, you have to add new indexes, delete indexes. That doesn't have an impact on your application. And when application scale grows, you're not buying a new big machine. You can just add in more commodity servers in the system and be benefited from the scale of your database. You can scale vertically without any downtime. You can move from 8 vCPUs to 16 to 32, whatever you want. You can increase the CPU capacity, RAM capacity, disk capacity without impacting your application. And you can put your application across multiple data centers, across multiple cloud providers at the same time. So that's why you see Cockroach being used by some of the largest organizations in the world, some of the most mission critical use cases out there. We run at scale where hundreds of nodes are running the application behind the scenes. And there are hundreds and thousands of clusters that we are managing today. Right? So if you look at your current relational database, these are the things in summary, what your relational database does not do versus what Cockroach is able to do for you. If you want to learn more about Cockroach, there is Cockroach University. You can also look at Cockroach Serverless, where you can basically start for free. If you're building new projects, you should take a look at that. And of course, we are here, so we are ready to help, right? Don't shy away from taking help. You can come to our booth. We are happy to talk to you, and we are happy to demonstrate Cockroach DB to your team. Thanks a lot, Temakasi. Any questions? Any questions? If there are no questions, we are please, if you have questions later on, come to our booth. We can talk. Thanks.
Thank you so much.